Okay.
Down in the Google.
We're live.
Okay. I'm going to call the October 18th, 2021 meeting of the Fairport Industrial Development Agency to order. Kevin Clark as chairman is here. Ken Rohr, Rob Gentner are present, and Leslie White has joined us by Zoom. And Donna Stefano is an excused absence, and we are wishing her a very speedy recovery. We miss her. So I'll open the public comment period. And seeing no one and hearing no one, I'll close the public comment. And we're going to ask for approval of the July 19th meeting minutes. With those meetings, we have not had a quorum to approve them. And September meetings, we will not have a quorum to approve those. So today we're going to act on the July 19th meeting minutes only. So good. And in that meeting, Leslie was not here, but Kevin, Ken, and Rob were. So if I could have a motion to approve.
So second.
Any comments, corrections, or discussion on those minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We can move into financial reporting for the IDA. With me now. And so we have, first item is Resolution 2021-10, authorizing payment of the IDA bills.
Just a couple bills this month. I did review them in detail. I moved payment of the bills. Second.
Any questions or discussion on those bills?
I think the large item there is for the deposit we had to make to Josh Landscaping, and I've sent you updated photos of the work that's done there. And I understand that the mulching, which is going to be carried out by the DPW, should be done by the end of this week.
Great.
So, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Cash and investment reports we have for 9/30/21.
You just note that at the bottom there, we've set aside those capital reserves that we budgeted and approved.
And we have the Tompkins Statement.
I would like to point out that I was contacted by Tompkins, Megan Burke, who reached out to me because the account has not been traded in 2 years, meaning we aren't buying and selling. Things have just matured and fallen off. They can no longer keep it on the advisory platform. It has to move to a brokerage platform. But the good news is that we don't get charged the advisory fees. What will happen is we'll pay $40 a year for inactive, and it'll be considered inactive. And so our costs will go down. And it's a system requirement from Tompkins, the way they run it. Because we're not buying and selling actively in the last 2 years.
We can buy and sell
Yes.
under the new.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And we would just, she said, if the rates change and we're going to go back to buying and selling on here more, then we'd move back to the advisory platform. But it's system-wide. If you're sitting in advisory, they can't keep it there. They won't be charging you those advisory fees. And so it's a good thing.
Huh?
It's a good thing.
Save some fees.
Yes. So there will be paperwork that's circulated that we'll have to execute.
Everybody comfortable with that?
Yeah, will we still have the discussions with them?
Oh, sure.
Even though there's the change to this brokerage?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, she would still be my primary contact.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions on the Tompkins? The balance sheets and P&L statements are included.
And because this is our fiscal year end, September 30, I asked Lily to run the balance sheet year over year, just so
Yep,
for
I
some,
did notice that in there.
yeah. And you can see that, the significant investments that we've made over the prior year and how that impacts our balance sheet.
Where that went,
Mm-hmm.
where that is. Okay. Anything else on financials? Any questions anyone has? All right, we'll move into old business, and we're going to talk about the request for proposal for economic development plans that we had sent out. And Ken and Martha and I interviewed two different firms who responded to our RFP. And one firm, the MRB Group, came and met with us in person. And then the second firm, which was BJH, and they're partnering, who is out of New York City, and they were partnering with Highland Associates, local out of Rochester, and they did a presentation to us by Zoom. So we, as the interviewing group, were unanimous in our feeling on who we should recommend to go ahead with, and that is the MRB Group for a number of reasons. One is they are local. They're familiar with the village of Fairport. They have a special, MRB is a full service engineering firm that has a governmental entity group that does plans like this and does a lot of work specifically with small rural villages and the like, as opposed to the other firm that tended to be larger projects with larger agencies and municipalities that they worked with. We all connected very well with the two people that did the presentation, who will be our main contact people throughout this process. We like the ideas that they have. They sent us work plans, including one for the town of Malta that they did most recently, that had a lot of similarities in what we are looking for. That came to us after our interview because it had just been accepted publicly. So then they were allowed to share after that. But he had walked us through and told us what it was about, and it was a good plan, we all felt. So that, I believe, is our recommendation. Please, Martha, again, add to our conversations.
I found MRB to be much more engaging, seemed to be more interested in what it was we had both accomplished and what we thought the future looked like. Particularly, we had discussion about our vision for the future. Again, I thought that was a good part of the conversation, and kind of the intangible. I just thought they did a better job in the presentation, and were more closely aligned with what it was we had in mind in the first place. So I certainly did support MRB Group.
And I also we noted a significant difference in the community engagement approach between the two firms, and we felt that MRB had a more targeted, they were using you use a scalpel versus a hatchet. They were very fine-tuned about that piece, and we liked that a lot.
And then qualifications were, the determining factor, but the other side of that is their fee was something less than half of what the other firm was. So we shared and have talked that there might be, and it's coming in less than what we had budgeted for the project. So we may be able to utilize those excess funds to expand the scope of work. You know, as we're getting into this, if we say, you know, maybe it's, maybe we'll have the opportunity to do some concept planning of a particular thing that may shake out as we're developing our plan. We will have funds available if we want to do something like that. So, so welcome any questions from the other board members who are not present.
Yeah, I'm curious too, because when you listen to both of these pitches, if you will, kind of in their own vacuum, was there anything that BJH brought that where you made a mental note and said, all right, it's not, we didn't hear that from the other group, but maybe it is something we should incorporate.
Yeah.
In other words,
And I think
good
we made
ideas.
a couple of notes and say, that's a good thing. We want to make sure we go with that. But honestly, Rob, I think that what we found is that the other firm pretty much was cookie cutter.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't really Fairport centric, Fairport specific. Highland certainly had some experience because they worked on the village's comprehensive plan. But even that was more, they were focused on, they were going to be providing this engagement service that Martha rightly said, that they were just going to be kind of a casting a broad net, where the other one is going to be more fine-tuned to an economic development plan, a central business district kind of plan. You know, so what we're looking.
So nothing, no major bullet points where you said we're going to go with MRB, but we should incorporate that idea or this idea.
Not that, you know, I'll certainly review our notes, but there, you know, a couple things pop out that you know, that we'll go back and check our list, but nothing earth shattering.
I looked at both of the proposals, and yeah, the cost certainly was a bright point as far as that was a clear difference. But no, I'm sure you guys did what needed to be done in the conversation, so I'm fully supportive of what you guys were doing.
Yeah, and these guys are going to be able to come and meet with us and do presentations with us, whereas the other firm was going to be almost exclusively Zoom, and you know, there's just certain connection, as we all know, you can do things in person. And I think they allotted the BJF for getting their initials mixed up. They allotted, I think, 2 visits to Fairport during the course of it. Okay. And they weren't sure who that might be. Who comes. Leslie, thoughts?
No, I you know, clearly support, you know, in reviewing the 2 proposals, I did like the MRB group's proposal, and I liked the examples that they shared, and certainly trust that, you know, you guys, the interviewing process was well done and thoughtful, and can't go wrong with choosing a good designer and a good firm that's able to do it at cost savings.
Yep, and we spent about an hour with each group. So, all right. So then I guess I'd entertain a motion that we enter into an agreement for the economic development plan with MRB Group.
I'll be happy to make that motion.
Or should we put in a for cost not to exceed? Allow for.
Yes, if we have that with if the proposed contract amount of
Okay.
$13,980.
$13,980.
I think that's what I said.
Yeah. I think pretty good. Okay, so that's a motion. Second, Leslie or Rob.
Second.
Any further discussion? We just look forward to getting together. The next order of business will probably be putting together a steering committee.
Yeah.
With members of this board and other volunteer boards and community people. Martha and I talked about it, been relatively small, not a large group, but so
Mhm.
That'll be the next order of business.
Yeah. We need a very tight group because we've got a very narrow window to
Yeah,
get
we're
this
putting
done.
this, we're putting this thing out as, like a 4-month project.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so it's gonna be aggressive.
Yes. Mhm.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, that carries. So Martha, you can reach out to her.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Any other IDA old business?
I do not have any.
Anyone else have any old business? How about new business for IDA?
I do not have any.
Anyone have any IDA business? Okay. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Close that meeting.